Zeb Shope served in the U.S. Army in the infantry during World War II. He served in Europe and participated in the D-Day invasion and the Battle of the Bulge. I'm going to ask you some questions about your service in World War II, and if you would like to add any information that are not in the questions, then please feel free to do that.
All right.
During World War II, what branch of service did you serve in?
In the infantry.
What was your rank?
Just PFC.
Where did you serve?
European.
Why did you pick the branch of service you joined?
I didn't have any choice. I was drafted and they put you where they want you.
Where did you do your basic training?
In Alabama, Camp Rucker. I was with the 88th Chemical Battalion down there.
What do you remember most about it?
It was hot and dry and sandy. We took our hikes and things right in that sand, and it slide back about as much as you go forward. Pretty rough.
What was your main job or assignment during the war?
Oh, I was just carried an M1 rifle and a .45 pistol and a bayonet on the end of that rifle.
Did you see combat?
Oh yeah, about 9 months of it.
What battles were you involved in?
Well, I landed in Normandy on Omaha Beach, and then I fought across France through the hedgerow country and into the Battle of the Bulge. I fought all the way across France.
Tell me about a couple of your most memorable experiences.
Oh man, just to pick out one, I guess, be there in the hedgerow country. There's so many people and animals, cows and horses and everything killed. But the stench was so bad you couldn't hardly eat. Terrible.
Were you ever a prisoner of war?
No.
Were you awarded any medals or citations?
Yeah, I got 2 Bronze Stars, and I got a Purple Heart, and got 5 Campaign Stars, and I got a Combat Infantryman's Badge.
Would you mind to tell me about your injury?
No, I got shrapnel in the face. Well, I got one on.
How often were you able to communicate with your family?
Oh, as often as I could get time to write. There wasn't no limit to it if you could write.
How did you feel when you got letters from home?
Lonesome. Plenty lonesome. I was married, my wife, and had 1 son. Yeah. You just want to go home, and that's about it.
What was the food like?
Food was good, except when we'd get cut off sometimes, they couldn't get food to us. But other than that, we had good food, yeah.
Would you tell me about any particularly humorous event that happened to you or someone you know?
Yeah. We were fixing to cross the Roer River. That's the southern part of France. And there's a ridge between us and the Germans. We're supposed to cross this ridge and cross that Roer River in boats. And while we was dug in on this side of the ridge, as one of our guys found an old white horse somewhere and rode him up and down that ridge, and then was shooting at him, hollering, "Hi, old Silver." We had some characters in there. They keep you tickled about something. And then one night, me and a fellow soldier in the Battle of the Bulge was about to freeze to death. You couldn't dig in the ground, it was so hard. So we've seen this opening under a building. It's too dark to see in there. We decided we'd crawl in there and get to sleep some, be warmer in there. And we unrolled our sleeping bags, and that other soldier said, "It's awful lumpy on my back in here." And I said, "I guess it's those sugar beets. They grow a lot of them up in this country." And we were so tired, we just went to sleep. Got up the next morning, we'd slept all night on hand grenades.
Oh.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, gosh.
What did you think of your officers or fellow soldiers?
Well, most of them were good. And some officers wasn't very good. But most of them were good. Good leaders.
Did you keep a personal journal or diary?
No.
What do you recall about the day the war ended?
Oh, goodness, I was tickled to death. I don't know. That's what I'd been waiting for. It pleased all of us.
Tell me about your close friendships while you were in the war.
Yeah, one of them was very sad. I had one friend, he's a sergeant, a real good guy from Minnesota. And one day he and I were dug in together. We usually went everywhere together we could, and we dug a couple of foxholes. I was in that, and he's in this one over here. And the Germans got to shelling us with mortars, and he got a direct hit on his hole and just blowed him all to pieces. That's awful hard to have to see happen.
What did you go on to do as a career after the war?
What did I do as a career after the war? I just went back to the same job I was in, Alcoa. Worked in the mechanical department in Alcoa, aluminum company.
Did your military experiences influence your thinking about war or the military in general?
Yeah, in lots of ways. I didn't realize it, but what a waste war is now, and don't need it. It's what do you call it?
Necessary.
Yeah. It's so many people get killed, money spent, goods perish, everything, and it's all for nothing. It's just such a waste.
How did your service and experiences affect your life?
Well, it made me appreciate life more, and I don't know, I'm just thankful to be alive every day now. Back then, I was looking to get killed every hour, and so I was real thankful that I can live, and yeah.
Is there anything you'd like to add that we haven't talked about?
There's so much, as I said, waste in the war. I was over there when the big breakthrough come, and they had a lot of our planes bombed our own troops. What happened was our small planes bombed. They're supposed to lay a smoke screen on the German line so the big heavies would know where to bomb. But a wind come up and moved that right back on our troops. And those heavies bombed our own troops. We lost a lot of them, was killed. General McNair was a general that he got killed. And what is a guy used to write so much in the military? He's in there, but he didn't get killed. I can't think of his name right now. Ernie Powell.
Right.
Ernie Powell was there when that bombing was going on, but he he got out of it alive. We was up on high ground. We could see what was going on. It's terrible to watch your own people get bombed by your own people. Yeah.
How long did the Battle of the Bulge last?
Had about, I guess, about 3 months in all. Yeah.
Did you know going into it that it was going to be that big of a battle, or did that?
No.
You started to realize that as you went along?
As I went in, yeah. I was with Patton's outfit. I called him Old Blood and Guts. But Eisenhower got in touch with Patton when the 101st Airborne got surrounded there in Bastogne, Belgium. And asked Patton, said, "Do you think you could get some troops up there in about 8 or 10 hours?" Patton, big brag anyway, said, "I can get them there in half at the time." But he did. He made a 100-mile motor march one night with us riding tanks and jeeps and trucks. We like to froze to death. Sometimes we'd get gas out and pour it out on the road and warm up a little bit. Wouldn't be none of that today. Gas too high. And yeah.
Yeah, we've heard it was very cold. Was that one of the hardest things about it?
Yeah, that's the worst thing about a lot of our fellows got killed, froze to death. They crawl in them basements where it's warm and find a bunch of old French wine and schnapps, they call it, and cognac, and drank it, and then they'd get outside where it's cold, just freeze to death. Just lay down and go to sleep. I seen them hauling back on Jeep, just racked up, hair frozen, standing straight up, froze to death. Yeah.
Is it? Were you from this area originally?
Yeah.
I guess, what was it like to grow up in this kind of just a quiet community, and then all of a sudden be halfway across the world and in the middle of a war? What was that? How did you adjust to that?
It was hard to adjust. We crossed the ocean first in 146 ship convoy, troop convoy, and we hit a storm in North Atlantic, and if you was up on top deck, you could see that front ship pitch down and impeller come out of the water. And just mountains of water. That scared us all to death and got sick too. Everybody on the boat was throwing up, vomiting. Yeah. Yeah, there's nothing. Sherman said said war is hell, and it really is. Ain't nothing about it. It's good. I guess the fellas in the rear back there were, maybe he could be in a good, warm, comfortable place, but up front, he was right out there all the time.
Did basic training, do you feel like that conditioned you well enough for the just the physical demands?
The battle? No, not enough, but it helped, yeah. I don't know whether anything could condition you for war in the infantry, because you're just daily in contact with the enemy, and the conditions are bad. You're freezing or burning up or dirty. And I went 35 straight days. That was the number of our division at that time without let up. We attacked every day, 35 straight days. And our hair had grown out and our beard, and we were sleeping in the ground, foxhole. Had dirt and mud in our faces. It looked like a bunch of ghosts. Terrible.
Were you able to, I can imagine it was probably hard to get much sleep at all.
Oh, I did. Yeah, it's hard to sleep. Well, the thing about it is you've got to be up part of the time on guard and stuff with the other guys sleeping, and you want more than get to sleep till they wake you up. And then it's cold, and you come back and you crawl on the ground, and you still don't get warm. Seemed like I froze all the time. Anymore, just to hear the Battle of the Bulge mentioned, I get cold. Terrible.
Were there, I mean, I can imagine there were also times where you were able to think about it long enough to maybe let yourself get concerned about what was going on, but did you, over time, did the guys learn how to just, I guess, manage their fear or worry, or sometimes were you just so busy you didn't have time to think about your situation?
Some of them were pretty well able to control it, but I went back one day for a shower back about 2 miles from the front line, and there was just a field full of men back there fenced in, big high fence, and they were just crying and praying and weeping. Shell shock cases, they call them. Terrible, they just couldn't take it, and they cracked up.
Well,
Thank you for coming and telling me about your experiences, and thank you for your service to our country.
Thank you.
we appreciate it very much.
Very good. Very interesting.